time, guys. Hey, it's your time. How you doing? My name is Crystal Bodie Smith, and I'm coming here to let someone else share their story. Yeah. I'm waiting to see my guests come on in the room. Thank you so much for joining me. We are here to hear yet another powerful story. Ladies and gentlemen. I see my guest come on in the room. I see my guest come on in the room. I think the camera's turned around. Yeah. Oh,
hello.
Girl. Oh my goodness, you look beautiful. I give you a couple of seconds to share this out to let the people know you are on here. So you can go ahead and send it on out. I'll definitely give you a couple minutes to do that. It's your time to shine, baby girl.
Thank you.
That's for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for coming on in here.
Yes, hello, everyone.
Yes. Tonight, I am honored to have this young lady here with me tonight. Just to share some things here. We're going to cut the music off so we can get right to it. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Crystal Bodie Smith, and I'd like to let you know that you are here for story time. We are so honored tonight, because we have a special young lady tonight by the name of Elizabeth Ortiz. Am I saying that last name right?
Yes.
Because I don't like to pronounce the name. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So
can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this young lady is coming out of Puerto Rico. She comes out of Puerto Rico, and she was raised in Newark, New Jersey, which I happen to be very familiar with, across the water, being from New York City. And she was diagnosed as a child with muscular dystrophy, which made a huge impact in her life. She's going to share some things with us tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, right now there's a lot of talk because of people being inconsiderate and people not really recognize certain illnesses. So we want to take this time to continue to spread awareness. And tonight it's going to be about muscular dystrophy. So I want to say welcome. I want to ask you, Elizabeth, to tell the people a little bit more about your backstory. If by chance you were not born with this, then talk about before the diagnosis, if it's any way possible. How long you stayed in Puerto Rico before you went to Newark? Just give them the backstory about that little girl, Elizabeth, so we can bring them up to today.
Oh, okay. My name is Elizabeth, and I was born in Puerto Rico.
A little louder, because it sounds like you're not that loud. Can you turn your volume up a little bit?
I put it up as far as I could.
Okay.
If it's too low, then I could try to put my headset on and try it that way.
Headset on, because I'm used to you being a little louder.
Okay, hold on one second.
But in the meantime, you can talk. Your hair looks so beautiful. You look so beautiful.
Thank you very much.
The queen. This is the queen on the rolling throne. The queen on the rolling throne. And we're going to find out why she has that name. And it's so powerful. It's going to help those of us who may have had something that they've gone through and they let it stop them. She's going to share with you how she did not let it stop her while she's getting her sound together, because I don't want you to miss none of this, okay? I don't want you to miss none of it. Okay, they said you're loud and clear, so you can go ahead. Don't worry about it. They said they can hear you loud and clear, so that's good. I'm good.
Okay. Can you hear me?
You're loud and clear.
Is this better?
Yeah, they said you're loud and clear, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my name is Elizabeth. I was born in Puerto Rico, and my parents moved to New Jersey for to seek medical help for me and for a better life, because in Puerto Rico it was not that advanced as it is over here. I was about I was like 2 or 3 when we came from Puerto Rico, and we moved to Newark. I was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy at a later age, but they knew that there was something wrong with me, and initially they told my parents it was polio, because there was a lot of polio going on around that time. But I was diagnosed later on with muscular dystrophy, SMA, which is a muscle weakness. and I'm not able to walk at all, or like lift up my arms to a certain degree. But other than that, I mean, I do everything. I do my makeup, I do my hair. I mean, I'm always out. I'm very outgoing, and I like to be an advocate for my community, because I feel that if I can do it, some people may feel that they cannot do certain things because they never tried or they were afraid to. But I try to let them know that there's no need to be afraid to do anything that you want to do. If you have something that's passion, that you have, that's a passion to you, that, go for it.
So let me ask you this question. Let's go back to when you first got this diagnosis. How old were you then?
I believe when I was diagnosed, they did a muscle biopsy, and I was like around a teenager at the time.
Okay, so let's talk about the teenage years right now. Children are kind of cruel, and children don't really accept people. Did you go to a public or did you go to a private school?
No, I went to a school for with other disabled children, but even still, they were mean to me. I told that whether kids have a disability or don't have a disability, kids are cruel sometimes. And I used to get bullied at school. I used to have long black hair down my back. They used to pull my hair. They used to tie it to the back of my wheelchair. They used to do all kind of mean things to me. But I never let that bother me.
So for anybody who's watching this that has a child that may be dealing with something, they may be in a wheelchair or they might just have a disability, then we just heard her say that people can be inconsiderate sometimes. What was it that made you get through those days? What kept you strong in those days? Was it something your parents instilled in you, or how did you get through those moments? Did you go to the principal? How did you get through those teenage years?
Through my teenage years, well, it was rough because I have 3 sisters, and watching them constantly go out, because when we lived in Newark, and the apartment that we lived in, there was 7 steps to go up and down. So every time they went out and they were going to an outing or something, movies or out dancing, I couldn't go. So, I mean, I kind of was a little resentful to it and stuff like that. But then I just told myself that, one of these days I'm going to be, I'm going to be on my own. Where they used to tease me all the time and tell me that I was going to be living at home and they were going to be all living out and have their own families and stuff like that. I said, I don't think so. And since then, I've always known that that was not going to be my plan. I knew that I was going to move on and do something.
Excellent, excellent. So that's great. So sound to me like you are self-motivated. You didn't need to instill anything into you. You affirmed yourself and you had determination. You had a dream. That's
exactly.
So then let's fast forward. After high school, then what happened?
After I graduated high school, I started working for Goodwill Industries as a receptionist. But then I only worked for them for a year, because after that I moved out of my parents' home to a place in Florham Park, New Jersey. It was kind of a nursing home, but not really. It was like for young people with disabilities, and it was kind of small, only for like 35 people. I moved there, and I knew that once I moved there that was going to be my freedom. Because once I moved there, this place was like a college campus. Mm-hmm. You were there, and they had like aides and nurses and stuff to care for you when you needed it. But as long as you didn't need anything, you were free to go out or do whatever it is that you wanted to do. But I chose to work, because ever since I was a working age at 14, I started out with the summer programs. I used to work every summer with the summer programs. And then after that, I knew that I was going to be working at a job somewhere. And I was always determined. And ever since then, I've always had jobs.
So at some point, you began to love the fashion industry. Look at her, ladies and gentlemen. She looks absolutely stunning. The makeup.
Thank you.
Makeup. I mean, come on now. And this is the person who most people, when they are disabled or they are confined, and they're independent and they're by themselves, you don't see this. So I want to commend you for being such a strong individual and having so much self-motivation. So I want to ask you, when did you begin to have a love for the fashion industry? Because that's where your passion was. You decided one day, what did you do? Did you see a television show? Where did that love come from?
No, I always was fascinated with clothes and dressing and everything. I always cared about the way I looked because well, at first I really didn't have that great of confidence in myself because I had a severe case of scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine. So the way I looked, I didn't like it. So I would try to dress to kind of like hide it and to make myself look better and more presentable and stuff like that. But as time went on, and I had my surgery in '79, and they corrected my scoliosis. And then after that, I started having more confidence in myself. And then I started taking pictures because I always was, like in modeling and stuff like that. I used to always buy the magazines and look into them to see if I seen any models that were disabled like me. But I never found anybody that looked like me in the magazines. So I got into my head, I'm like, you know what? Someday I'm going to make a difference. And I just kept a positive attitude. And, I'm very determined, like you said, because whenever somebody tried to tell me that I couldn't do something, it made me even want to do it even more.
Wow.
So
you didn't need to see somebody else. Some people need to see it, but you saw it up here. So
yes,
envision it in your mind. So you got your big break out on social media. Is that correct? Because right now we see you. If you follow her, and ladies and gentlemen, right now, if you're just coming in, you're talking to Elizabeth Ortiz, and we'll be able to take questions from her. There's a question mark box on the bottom. You can put a question in there. There's a plus sign if you want to come in and you want to give her flowers, you want to say something to her. But this young lady right now is absolutely amazing. She goes out and she is called the Queen on the Rolling Throne. She actually does fashion shows and she's an advocate. So how did you get your first break to model in the wheelchair, and how was that? Tell me how that went, and was there someone else in a wheelchair too when you went?
Okay, what happened was I was taking a lot of pictures and I was sending out letters to different agencies and different companies and stores that I was interested in modeling for them, but I never got any response. They would, if I got a letter like, oh, the nice pictures and this and that, kind of patronizing, but I didn't let that bother me. But one day after I said, you know what, I'm just going to leave that down for a minute. Then I seen, they had a contest. Zappos had a contest for a model. And I entered the contest and I won it. And I was so shocked to find out that I won it. I didn't even believe them at first when I got the email saying that I won. So after I won that contest, they flew me to Vegas for a 3-day stay over in one of their hotels. And I did a photo shoot one day, and the other days was just like meeting with them and, going over different things. And then they told me about this woman named Mindy Shire. She owns the company Runway of Dreams.
Uh-huh.
And I had heard about Mindy, and I was going to get in contact with her. But it so happens that while I was in Vegas, they were telling me about her, and they were telling me that they were going to tell Mindy about me. Because I told them I was interested in modeling and everything, and they said that she has fashion shows. So I said, well, I'm going to be in this fashion show. And actually one day after I came back from Vegas and all of that was over, I got in touch with Mindy and I spoke to her a couple of times. So one day I found out that she was having a business meeting with some like businessmen and women. So I got in contact with the lady that was orchestrating it and getting it all together. So I told her that I was interested. I was not a business person, but I was interested in coming to that luncheon, that I needed to be there, because I was determined that I wanted to meet Mindy in person. So I went, and after Mindy got up at the stage in the front, she started talking, and then she said the floor was open to any questions. So if anybody had any questions. So I went up there and I told her, I said, well, my name is Elizabeth, and Mindy, I'm here to let you know that I'm going to be in one of your fashion shows. And she turned around to me. She's like, how did you know? I was going to call you to let you know that, we had talked about it with Zappos and that we wanted you to, model for us. So then in September of 2019, was my first fashion show in New York for Runway of Dreams for the New York Fashion Week.
Wow. So how was that experience? That was a lot of people. That was a pretty big audience, wasn't it?
Yes. There was a lot of people.
audience. So was you nervous? How did that go? I mean, of course they had to accommodate you because you went across the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to understand, she's in a wheelchair. So she went across that stage rolling in her wheelchair with confidence, and she
Yes.
did some spins, you did some turns, you did some pulls.
Yes, I did. Yes.
You got to share a video one day. How was that first fashion show?
Oh, I have to. I'll send it to you. I have the video of the first fashion show. But it was I mean, it was exciting. It was like a dream come true. I felt like a total queen, to be honest with you. I mean, I just was like, okay, I knew that this was going to be my moment. And it was my moment, and I was basking in it, and I was loving it, and I was not going to let anything or anybody take that away from me, because that was my time to shine, like that song that you just played.
Yes. Wow. So did y'all hear this? I mean, if you are watching Elizabeth and you have low self-esteem, I really need to get something from her right now. Understand, this woman has every reason to have given up. She had every reason to have just not had a dream like she had, but she dreamed outside the box. She wanted to do something, and she probably was the first. Was you the first in a wheelchair to participate in New York Fashion Week?
No, there was other disabled individuals that modeled also.
Okay.
But it was just exciting to know that was my dream, and I was there, and nothing else around me mattered. It was just that it was my time, and I knew that, that was it.
That's it. So what would you tell somebody who might be watching this, who got a diagnosis? The diagnosis might not be muscular dystrophy. It may be something else, but it may have confined them to a wheelchair, or maybe they can't walk, they can't use a part of their body. What would you say to them right now if they are in that position and they just don't know what to do? They want to give up. They're not encouraged. They have no support at all. What would you tell them?
Well, like I always do, whenever I come across a person that has a disability, I always speak to them and encourage them to do stuff, and to, get involved into different agencies and different programs and stuff like that. Even when I see mothers with children that have a disability, I always go up to them and ask them, are you in a system? Meaning there's a organization called DDD, which is Developmental Disabilities Council. And I always go up to them and make sure that they know this information, that there's help out there for them. Because when I was growing up, my mother had to take care of me by herself. And now these days people have aides and people that come in and help you. My mother, I mean, she took care of me all the way up to high school. That's why I felt I needed to move out, because I needed to give my mother a break and give her a chance to, live her life, and also so I could begin to live mine. But that's why whenever I see someone, a mother with a child that has a disability, I always, make sure they have the information. And if they need, I give them my phone number. I tell them to call me if they have any questions, they need any help with anything, to, reach out to me. So I'm always advocating when I'm in the public and stuff like that. I advocate all the time.
Excellent. So, Elizabeth, do you do a lot of reading?
I do some, yes.
And who do you read? What kind of books do you read?
Well, I read a lot of like poetry and stuff like that.
Okay, because I'm just wondering where all the confidence comes from.
I don't know. I've always been confident. Since I was a little girl, I never let anybody tell me that I couldn't do something. I used to when I was living at home and I was a little girl, I remember I used to grab the broom, and in my wheelchair, I used to sweep and mop and do all those things. My mother would fuss at me, tell me I didn't have to do it because I have enough brothers and sisters that could do it, but I wanted to do it. Right. I felt that I was no different than nobody else. So I used to do, I just was that type of person that I never took no for an answer that I couldn't do something.
Excellent. And that's amazing. So you modeled. What next?
What next? Well, I'm trying to get into like commercials or some type of, even if into a movie or anything, but I've been making contacts with a lot of people since I've been on social media. So hopefully one of these days you'll see me on the big screen. Well, no matter of fact, I was on The View last week
Okay.
because the lady from Runway of Dreams that I model for, she was on The View, and she was showing some of the pictures of some of the clients that she works with, and they showed my picture like 2 or 3 times on the screen.
Did you screenshot that? That's so cool.
Yes.
So
Yes, I did. Huh?
Add that to your resume now.
Yeah, I have it. Yes.
Wow. Amazing. So you wanted to model and you don't do any designing, do you?
No, not really. Like I just put like certain outfits together and stuff like that, and for myself, but not really like to design anything.
Now, if anybody paid attention when we first came on, the background was full of hats. She loves her hat, y'all. She loves her hat. So
here go my hat collection.
Or somewhere, she loves her hat. What inspired you to want to really get into fashion and to get into the hats like that? What made you such a hat lover?
I know I've always been since I was younger, and I mean I was always buying like little hats, like the little the ones that look like little golf hats. I used to buy them in every color, and me and my sisters used to wear them, and we should like trade them. One week they would wear one, and I wear another one and stuff like that. But we used to start collecting hats, but they kind of didn't stay with it, but I did. I've always loved hats.
Wow. So now, Elizabeth, you talked about the good days. There's always good days and there's bad days. Let's talk about the bad days, because I know that there's some people who may say they have some bad days. And, there's a song that says, my good days outweighs my bad days. So how do you deal with the bad days?
Well, sometimes I do get down because right now I live on my own, and I live here through an organization called Allies. And the staff that works for Allies, sometimes they're not as nice as they should be, and sometimes they're not as understanding, because they're used to working with people that have disabilities that are not vocal and not able to communicate for themselves their needs and wants. But being that I can do that, they really don't like that, because then they feel that they have to work harder or something. I don't know. But I always have a problem with the staff because of that. And, I'm never mean to anybody. I'm never nasty to anybody. I'm always cordial. If they come here and, we have conversations and everything, when they leave here, there's no problem. Then all of a sudden I find out that they have told the manager that they didn't want to come back because they didn't want to work with me. And I'm like, well, I don't understand that. We had a good conversation. They left here happy. I don't know what's going on. But sometimes, with those situations like that, it kind of makes me feel down, because people can be, really cruel for no reason. But then I pick myself up, because I tell myself, look, you're not going to let that, bring you down. You've have climbed higher mountains than that. So you're not going to let this hinder you from being the person that you are.
Wow. Now, I can tell that you're a stable person, because when I look at your bio, you said that you have actually been for the same company. You've been working for the same company for 30 years. 30
Yes.
years. And Miss Pope wants to come and say something to you. I'm going to let her do that for sure. 30 years you've been working for the same company. And
yes.
Definitely welcome Miss Pope.
Hi, Mama Betty.
Some words of wisdom to you, and to definitely give you your flowers. Good evening, Miss Polk. How you doing?
I am very good. How are you, dear?
I'm doing excellent, excellent. Please introduce yourself and let the people know where you're from. And I know you want to say something to our guests. You have the floor.
I certainly do. I'm Betty Polk. I live in Port Arthur, Texas. Liz, you are my hero.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you know what a hero is?
I think so.
A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles.
Yes.
That's what you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow.
You have endured.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely do. I am so, you are my hero. You
You,
are
Miss
my
Poke,
hero.
Thank you.
are you 80 or 81?
I'm 80. I'll be 81 in November.
Yeah. So in all your years, I know you've seen some things, and now, of course, we probably have more opportunities out there for people with disabilities and everything, but I haven't come across too many people with the confidence level that she has. Have you?
Never. Never. No. She made me sit up and take notice. Never. Never.
Thank you.
She made me sit up and take notice. And I am so glad I was able to
And
tune
that's what
in.
I'm saying. I mean, she's out here. Look at her. She's beautiful. I mean, she comes out here. She does things.
She's gorgeous. She's simply gorgeous. Just gorgeous.
Say that again.
She's simply gorgeous.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
She is.
No. And so, is there anything particular that you would like to say to her? Because she says some days she do have some down days, and she's by herself sometimes. And that's another reason why we're out here. We have a community of people out here, and we're here for each other. You know what I mean? And we'll talk about those days, because I know you also put in your bio that you were depressed when you lost your child. And I want to ask that, because a lot of times people think people in wheelchairs don't have a sex life. They think they don't have
Yes.
think that they don't, something they just don't get involved with. But since you wrote that in your bio, I wanted you to speak to that a little bit. But Ms. Polk, I wanted to definitely give you the opportunity if there was any questions you have for her.
No, I just had to say she is my hero. No questions, no nothing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to make that one statement.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome. That's for sure.
I know. I know.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me on.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thumbs up, Liz.
All
Thanks.
right.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, Miss Elizabeth, I got a question for you. And
Sure.
the question is, I'm going to let you down, Miss Polk, in case somebody else wants to come up, okay? Thank you, dear. So, listen, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Talk about that time when you had a boyfriend, you had a husband, you had a baby. Talk about that period of time, because was that somebody else in a wheelchair, or were they out of a wheelchair? How did that work?
No, no, they were able-bodied. I've had quite a few relationships with able-bodied men that I've dated. I never got married, but I've dated quite a few. And one of the times I happened to get pregnant. Huh?
You're attracting the able-bodied men. So let's talk about that. There's some women who don't have any self-esteem, and they are able-bodied. Here you are in a wheelchair, and you're setting off that kind of aura that you're attracting an able-bodied man, and they don't even see you as disabled. I'm sure that's what they say. They just feel confident. They just see a beautiful woman. My goodness, that's amazing. So you could teach some women some things. Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes.
Some women in wheelchairs to come alive, to feel good about themselves. Have you ever thought about doing that?
Well, I talked to some of them online, and I give advice, and that's why I post a lot of positive things online on my page, and people have reached out to me with questions, and they'll send me their phone number and say to call them and stuff like that. So I do a lot of advocating like that for different. I mean, even some able-bodied people have contacted me, to tell me how I inspired them to do more, because they see me that I'm in a wheelchair and the things that I'm doing, and they don't even do half of that. And, so they reach out to me and let me know that how much I encourage them. And that makes me feel good, because, I mean, that's what I'm here for. I get on here to inspire people, and to, if there's something that they want to do.
Yes.
Wait,
Yes, I saw that you said something, Miss Fenton. If you would like to come in and leave a comment for the young lady, please do. I want to know, Miss Elizabeth, do you have strong faith?
Yes.
Because it takes strong faith also. And some people don't have faith, and that kind of limits their confidence in a way. So I can detect that you have strong faith as well. So I would love to tell you to keep on encouraging other women, able-bodied, disabled-bodied, all people of all walks of life because you are qualified to do that. You understand what I'm saying? I can tell
Right.
from your spirit. I can tell it from your attitude. I can tell it from, you know, the words that you say. You definitely are a person who could do that. There's another young lady who would like to come up and say something to you, so I'm going to bring her up. But you are definitely a powerful, powerful woman. Definitely a powerful woman. And I don't know if you young
Hi.
Hi.
yourself
Hey,
and
Miss Crystal.
like to say to Miss Elizabeth today. Introduce yourself and tell us where you calling from.
Hey, I'm Fenton. I'm calling from North Carolina. I just happened to talk with Miss Crystal one day and been following her ever since. And I want to say I work in the medical field and I help rehabilitate people who've had all kinds of disabilities. I've been doing that for many, many years. And the fact that you are attracting men who are not disabled and have done that is phenomenal because I dated a guy who was an amputee once, and I want to say that it's very um, common to find women to date men who have disabilities. I hope I'm using
Yes.
the correct term.
Yes.
But vice versa is a little bit different unless they
Yes.
marry or they're already involved and the disability occurs. They
Right.
don't usually do that, and I think that is phenomenal, and I think that that is just it's a testament to your beauty on the inside as well as your beauty on the outside,
Thank you.
and the ability of your mind and your character, your spirit, because there's a scripture that I love that man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And I believe that is truly manifested in your life, that people can see such greatness in you that it
Thank
just
you.
it exudes from you to the point that, you know, the outside, which is gorgeous. I mean, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter. And I hope that all of
Hmm.
us can get to that point that people can see our insides and we're just as beautiful or more beautiful inside than out, and that radiates. So I did want to say that.
Exactly.
I thought when you said that
Thank
about
you.
those men, I was like, oh, that's awesome, because you don't see that very much. You unless they start off with a woman who's able, who becomes
Right.
disabled, and even that's
That's
challenging
true.
for a lot of people.
Right.
I was thinking when she said it, I went, wow, you know, but you know what? That just goes to show you that people sometimes get these preconceived notions of what they feel as though it's supposed to be. But it's not. No, who said it can't be like that? You understand what I'm saying? But that's why I said she needs to be speaking more. She needs to be educating, empowering more people in wheelchairs, especially women, because I rarely see a woman in a wheelchair looking like she looks right now.
Yes,
This
and you know,
is
is
because
it a spinal
it's
cord issue?
live. Miss
Is
Fenton,
it
No,
a,
I have a muscle related disease,
okay, go ahead.
muscular dystrophy.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Miss Crystal. What were you saying?
and she looks like this most of the time. Most of the time I see her.
I don't even look like that. I don't feel like
Thank you.
that.
But you know,
But
one thing too, Crystal, is when the guys that I have dated, they've always been like, oh, what happened? The guys that I have dated, I've never had I mean, they've been like really like mature minded, because like I would think that I was not being enough for them, and they actually have taught me that I can be, you know, more sexual than what I, you know, think that I could be. And I learned a lot from some of the guys that I was with, because they didn't just were not one of those, excuse my expression, wham bam thank you ma'am. Because when they were my boyfriend, they were my boyfriends for quite a while.
and I'm
Wow.
so
So
glad that you were taken
and
advantage of.
no, I never was, never. You know, I've heard of people, women in wheelchairs that have said that, you know, guys have taken advantage of them and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Thank God I've never come across that.
Yeah, or a fetish, you know, or just like
Right.
curiosity. I'm so glad
Yes.
you weren't, you know, and
Mhm.
Or they were
everything
just
like that.
curious, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's Elizabeth. Wow. And then you even got pregnant. So you was doing the doggone thing, girl. Looking around.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
coming up and
But
speak to me.
I lost my baby at 4 months.
Make sure you follow her, please. Make sure you follow her.
I
You know,
will. I'm going to do that
she's
immediately.
the
And
queen
thank
on
you.
the rolling throne. She models. She's a motivational speaker, and now you're writing for a magazine, right?
Yes, yes. I was just before I got online, I was just finishing up this article that I have to submit for the new one coming out, the new magazine.
And so what is your column about? What are you focused? And what's the name of the magazine?
Yeah.
And where is it
It's
out
a
of?
magazine for it's a disability magazine. It's called is it People and Friends? No, People and Family, something like that. I'll send you the thing of the cover of it. And then and I'll post it on my page. But the article that I'm writing now, it's about being Hispanic and living with a disability.
Okay.
I had to interview 2 people and then also write how it affected me, whether it did or not, and in which way.
Well, you know, the world's opened up for the disabled, you know, from the Disability Act, you know, make things.
I appreciate you coming up. We appreciate you definitely.
Thank you.
Here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let me ask you something. What are some challenges that you have faced that you would like to see improve? Some things that's going on. I heard you say something about when your mother was raising you, there wasn't a lot of organizations out here. In 2022, what are some things that you would like to see being done differently?
Well, one thing is transportation. Transportation, especially right now in New Jersey, is not that great. We don't even have Uber. There's Uber in New York that's accessible, but not in New Jersey. So last week, 2 weeks ago, when I went to see Flame at the comedy club, I was able to catch the bus here at the corner of my house into New York, but then I had to catch an Uber from New York back back home, I'm glad that they are able to come from New York into New Jersey, but they won't go from New York to come pick somebody up in New Jersey. So we need to get, more transportation going on in New Jersey for people with disabilities.
Write to your local congressman.
Mm-hmm.
But that she went to a comedy show, met up with some of her IG.
Yes.
I know they were like, oh my goodness, there goes Queen on the rolling. Oh, that's not on the bus, y'all.
Yes.
So, what about Accessoride? Accessoride is not in New Jersey?
I think Accessoride, it's in New York. New Jersey has Access Link, but they were thinking about, doing a program to go into New York to at least to the bus station, but that went out the window. So
okay.
Yeah.
Need more transportation and anything else that you'd like to see improve?
I mean, of course, the entertainment field that they would, they starting to be a little better now because I'm starting to see a lot more like commercials with people with disabilities on, and also in some movies and stuff like Cheaper by the Dozen just came out. They had a young lady in there that was in a wheelchair, and she really was a disabled person. Versus when they put they give these roles to able-bodied people and put them in wheelchairs.
Okay.
And that's not fair.
So do you think because there's not a lot of people in wheelchairs with ambition that want to act though? Because that's what I'm saying. Are they not enough people trying out in wheelchairs?
Well, I think there's enough interest because it actually is growing, because a lot of people with disabilities didn't know that they will be able to, go into acting and stuff like that. So, not everybody, has that vision in front of them at the moment because, to them, they didn't know that they were able to do these things. Some of them didn't even know that they could go to college and live on campus. Now we have more and more people with disabilities going away to college for 4 years, living on campus and living a life like anybody else.
That's right.
Where before you never heard of such a thing like that.
That's right. And in most restaurants and most buildings, especially something being built now, they have to have a certain amount of handicap accessibility. They have to have ramp. They have to have a certain door that you can enter in, especially a public government building, state building. They all have to have it. And now some restaurants have to have it. They have to have these accommodations. So if you come across any places that don't have it, make sure you report them.
Oh, I do. I have a card that I write to the person, and I have or email them, and let them know. And then they come out and, you know, talk to the people of that building, and, you know, they have to make it accessible. But sometimes some of the buildings, whether they're like old, they don't have to apply, you know, comply with it because they're very old. But most of them, they do try to, you know, make some type of accommodations. Like when I went to see Flame, the restaurant that Dawn and them were at had stairs to get in. So when I went over there and found out that they were there by seeing them on IG, I said, okay, I'm going to go over there and surprise them. So when I get there, I get surprised because I see stairs. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not going to be able to go and meet with them. So then a gentleman that was at the door came over, and he asked me, did I want to come in? I said, well, yes, if you have another entrance. He said, I have something better. I have a ramp. I was like, what? So he put down the ramp. I went right in, and as soon as I got all the way in there, right in front of me was a table with Dawn and Mark and Aisha, and all those guys were right there.
Wow. I want to take a moment to just let anybody know, if you're watching this and you have some type of disability, you should be aware of the American with
Disabilities Act. Yes.
Prohibits the discrimination against people with disabilities in several areas, including employment, transportation, public accommodations, communication, and access to state and local government programs and services.
Yes.
And as it relates to employment. So make sure you educate yourself. I'm sure Elizabeth would not mind if you follow her and ask her question. If you have experienced something, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you
not at all
like her, so she can point you in the right direction. And I'm sure there's other advocates out there. But
yes,
make sure that in addition to the Department of Labor, you have the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You know, you have Department of Transportation, the Federal Communications Commission, the Department of Justice, you know, the Department of Education, the Department of Health and Human Services. So all agencies are concentrating more on making sure that people with disabilities are treated fairly and are not discriminated against. So we want you to know that you are not alone. You do not have to go through this by yourself. If you're watching this video and you have a disability and it had been diagnosed or it had not been diagnosed, please, please, please reach out, because you have the right to be treated fairly.
Yes.
If you want to go do something, you are learning from Miss Elizabeth Ortiz. You can have a relationship. You can have children. You can go and have a career. She's been on her job for 30 years. You can actually go after your dream. You can stand up for yourself. Miss Elizabeth Ortiz, the queen on the rolling throne, is showing you all these things. So please, please, please become her friend if you need a friend. Now, are there some support group that you know of that you can share with people on IG or Facebook or anywhere that you can tell people about that may be watching or may come back and do the replay? Support group for people with disabilities?
Well, I know different people in different areas and stuff like that. So if someone wants information, they can just, you know, look me up or, you know, follow me. And if I don't have the answer for them, I will find the answer for them and then let them know who they can contact to get that information.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's great. We definitely want you to do that. I asked a question before and I said, what next? You are writing in a magazine. You are a working class woman. Do you have a vision one day to start any kind of business of your own, or is there something bigger that's stirring up in that mind that you're trying to think about doing?
Well, right now, just basically just trying to get into, you know, like some more modeling, and trying to get, you know, like into acting and stuff like that, which I've been taking up like little classes here and there on acting and doing stuff like that. But as far as a business or anything like that, nothing right now.
Okay. Well, that's
so, but I just want to be, you know, I want to be an advocate. I want to be there for that next person, that thinks that they can't do something because they have a disability.
That's right. Do you have your electronic press kit for yourself?
I'm sorry?
Electronic press kit. Do you have an electronic press kit, like something to send to people when they want to know who you are, when you want to go ahead before you audition, something that you send with your picture, all your information?
No, I was working on that now to get that done.
So make sure you look it up. Just look up electronic press kit.
Right.
Electronic
Yeah.
press kit, and that will be compiled with all that information about you that they'll have, and that'll be pretty.
Right.
And I'm so proud of you. I am so
Thank
happy.
you.
You
Thank
are
you so much.
an inspiration, man. I'm a catalyst for hope, but you know, I try to get people to tell their stories because I think that when we share our stories, it helps other people. I want you to know
Yes.
that not only is this going to be played here on Instagram, but my executive producer that helps me, this story is going to also be aired on Facebook Live, on LinkedIn, on Roku, on many, many places in other countries. So it's going to
Great.
be in many places, okay? So my platform
Great.
not just on IG. It's just that I don't have a IG producer right now because otherwise it would be simultaneously airing live on those platforms. So when I get the help,
Okay.
I'll be able to do that. So right now it will air at a later time on those platforms. But I
Okay.
thank you so much for
Thank you, Crystal.
come and let me talk to you and sharing. I know that you have blessed many people with your story, man. You really have. Now, do you have anything on your heart that you want to share without me asking you a question?
No, the only thing I forgot to mention before is that I'm on a panel for Victoria's Secret to alter their underclothes, like bras and underwear that are more comfortable for someone with a disability.
Wow.
So I'm on the panel for that. And they sent me out a couple of the products to try them and to see where, they can make some changes to make it more comfortable or easier to put on, because the most challenging thing when you have a disability sometimes is dressing.
Yes.
But if the clothes are, accommodated for you and made for you, have like special, instead of having buttons, now they use like these Velcro or magnets. I mean, you still see the buttons on the outside, but there's a magnet in the inside that snaps it together and keeps it closed, like the front of the shirt. So, yeah, so now I'm on that panel for Victoria's Secret.
How did that happen?
Through Runway of Dreams, the organization that I model for.
Wow. So there was a representative there at the show, and they reached out to you and said, hey, we would love to get your input.
Well, it was through Mindy that I guess they approached her. And plus, there's Victoria's Secret now has the very first model with a disability. She has, I think it's autism.
Okay.
And she's the very first Victoria's Secret model with a disability.
So that's awesome. So
yes.
Now you can, if you need help when you're putting together that electronic press kit or whatever you're putting together, let me know, please.
Sure. Thank you.
I'm so excited for you. You're going to be doing some big things. I will look for you on the big screen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Follow her now while you can, because I'm telling you right now, Elizabeth Ortiz is going to be on somebody's screen. She is going to be bigger than she is today. We are.
Amen. I accept that. I receive it, Crystal. Thank you.
But I speak right now life into your career. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be on the TV screen. You're going to be on the airwave. You're going to get interviews by people much larger than myself, because your story needs to be told. Because
thank you.
Life to people. You give life to people who are able-bodied, people who have just lost hope, people who have no reason to have given up. I mean, because like you said, people reached out to you because they see you and they say, man, if she could do it, I can too. So who is your role model? Who do you idolize?
I don't think I really had a role model, because I've always inspired myself. Well, I've always been like the strong-minded person.
Have anybody on the TV? I mean, nobody you idolize? No actress or actor or nobody?
Well, I used to look up to Maddie Marlin. She's the deaf actress. she, you know, I used to look up to her because, I mean, she made it to the, you know, she was on a couple of movies, and she's an actress now. And they just won the best movie the other night for the awards. And that was the movie Coda, which is all deaf people.
Okay.
CODA, which stands for Children of Deaf Parents.
Right.
And I mean, that was like that was a movement right there. That was awesome to see that happen, like in this generation.
And
because
tell you something. When people, I'm moved to tell you a little bit about me, because a lot of people don't realize this. I have what can be considered as a limitation as well, because, you know, with my hearing. Okay. And so it took me a long time to accept it and to actually go get some help for that, go get hearing aids for that, you know. And it took me a long time to build my confidence up. So when I see how confident you are, man, that just really blesses me, because you look like you've been this way all your adult life. This is not, you know, people, they take years to get here, you know what I'm saying? So man, whatever it is that you did, like, man, I'm telling you, you have to bottle that up. And
thank you.
I'm serious.
I remember one time I was on the bus, and this lady got on the bus, and she passed by me, and she just stopped, and she looked at me. She's like, "Oh my God, you are beautiful," and I'm like, "Okay, thank you." But I honestly don't think that she was talking about physical beauty. I think that, you know, like the way that I feel, I think I portray that out. So people pick up on those vibes also. So, you know, it was great to hear that. And I've heard that a couple of times when people have come, you know, have approached me and they have said that to me. And like, I don't look at it as they're talking about my physical. I think they're picking up my vibes and, you know, my positivity and stuff like that, because that's how I'm always like that.
Exactly. And what's your motto?
My motto is, I can because I did.
Just like
and then another one is the glass ceiling of yesterday. Today is my runway.
Listen.
Because remember, the ceiling is at the top. Now for me, it's at the bottom.
She said, I can because I did.
Exactly.
So
yes.
I think that any new challenge, any new expectation, any new opportunity, any new obstacle, anything, your mindset going into it is, I can because I already did. There's nothing that will intimidate you. That's what I'm getting from you. I'm getting that from you. I'm not afraid.
Nope. And people have tried to instill fear in me because of the way that I am, that I'm very outgoing. I can get on a bus and go somewhere, even if it's by myself. You know, people try to instill fear in me for that. And I'm like, I never gave in to that, because, you know, that's not the life that I want to live. I want to be a free person. I want to be able to travel and go where I want to go, when I want to go. And I'm not going to be living in fear. I'm not going to live in a closet. I will never get where I am today if I listen to those people back there.
Well, let me tell you something. I pray Psalms 91 protection all around you. I pray to have angels following you. I know that you are going to use wisdom, and you're always going to make sure that you have your phone. You're in lit areas. You're going to make sure you don't
always.
You're very ambitious, but you're also going to use wisdom. So I like knowing people are concerned. Continue to go do what you do. Just take precautions.
Always do. Thank you.
You have to go by yourself. Let somebody know where you went. You know, do the necessary things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. I always do. But I always make sure that I'm going to be safe.
I just appreciate you. I salute you, Miss Queen. I salute you.
Thank you.
And you are the queen on the rolling throne. You are definitely, man, oh man, the queen. We're going to call you the queen on IG too, for this these IG streets, okay?
Thank you so much, Crystal.
Keep getting on the live. Keep telling your story. Keep going.
I will.
Don't stop. And when you get there, please send me a message and tell me, Crystal, I made it, because I'm going to come see you.
Definitely. You got it.
Let the people people know how they can reach you. Those people who can reach out, let them know in closing comments how they can reach you. If you have other than this page, if they need to reach you, or if you're looking for stories for your magazine, any closing comment that you would like to make regarding how people can reach out to you or any upcoming events that you have.
Okay, they can reach me on my IG, Queen on a Rolling Throne, or they can reach me on my Facebook, which is Queen Elizabeth Ortiz.
Okay. Any upcoming event that we need to be looking out for?
Nothing right now that I know of right yet. Well, there's something brewing, but not yet, and I can't speak of it right now yet.
Okay. We're going to keep you in our prayers. I thank you so much. God bless you, Elizabeth. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I am so excited for you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper.
Shall prosper, never. Thank you so much.
You will have all the things because you're already speaking it into existence. You know, a lot of people make the mistake of waiting to see things. You know, faith is the substance of things hoped for.
Hope for.
Things not yet.
So
understand, you have to hope first, and then you have to believe.
Yes.
So, you know, if you can believe it, then you can definitely achieve it. So you have to, you know, step your belief up a little bit. People, step your belief up and be around people who encourage you.
I do.
People who
I stay away from the negativity and I stay around the positive.
Yes, that's what you need. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming through. I am Crystal Bodie Smith. You've been listening to Elizabeth Ortiz, the Queen on a Rolling Throne. We'll be back coming up this week with some more insurance tips with the insurance agent this week. We do that twice a month. We want to make sure that you get those insurance tips. We also have a comedian coming to you this week who is also a retired police officer. He's going to give that perspective on being a comedian and also the law. So he's coming to you. We got some interesting people coming through. We want to stay relevant right now. We want to stay relevant and we want to empower and inspire. So once again, if you're not following me, follow me, share this video. God bless you. Have an amazing evening. And thank you so much for stopping by. Elizabeth, good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.